spots and cheap pumps, ladies and gentlemen. We are back talking professional wrestling. This is Silicon Steve Valley. And on the other side, we got Vladi Dadi. And check out right there, we got Zoe partying with us as well. Ladies and gentlemen, a little bit back to normalcy in the world of professional wrestling. Triple H continues to have WWE in pretty good shape. And Tony Khan kind of recovering a little bit from losing absolute fucking control of his company for about a week and a half. Vladi Dadi, a little bit of a recovery for AEW. How are you doing this fine evening? And how was your weekend? We're doing this on a Sunday night this week.
Yeah, it was pretty good, man. I can't complain too much. We had great weather here in the Northeast. It's good to relax a little bit, talk a little wrestling with you, and we are looking a little bit at the aftermath of AEW as the things are starting to settle here, and we saw a few shows now after the implosion that sort of happened there, and now we're sort of doing the great reset of AEW wrestling here.
I would like to put a little bow on all that happened at the last part of CM Punk. A couple things, we got some reactions. You and I obviously debated. I thought was one of our better shows. We really debated, and you did a brilliant job of putting what CM Punk was feeling and why he did what he did. You actually beautifully, as if he were his lawyer, he couldn't have hired a lawyer to do a better job of building a case for CM Punk. At the end of the day, yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure he has hired better lawyers already, but that's besides the point. I appreciate the compliment.
Well, Scott Colton can tell you that, right?
Yeah.
But we've gotten a lot of different reactions. I still contend that what CM Punk did was selfish and very destructive, and it was horrible on his part, and he was the biggest problem. And we have gotten so many different reactions. Booker T said he would literally fight CM Punk every time he saw him in the back if that happened when he was there. Eric Bischoff brought up a really good point. He killed CM Punk for it as well. And he also brought up a good point, which you would agree with.
Yeah.
What does the executives of Warner Television and our Discovery, when you see a guy who doesn't have his shit together, Tony Khan, completely with no control over his company, and it was the MGF thing a shoot or not? That was right in front of them too. Those are two things Bischoff brought up, something that you've brought up a couple times. Tony Khan doesn't look like he controls shit in this company right now. And do you want to do business? Do you want to write a $45 million check if that's the way your guys are?
No, absolutely not. And this merger and those that are involved in it, they're like sort of notoriously cheap. So if you don't have like a captain that has his the right mindset to like sort of sail this vessel, they're going to hesitate, and he has to sort of recover quickly and understand here like what he is like facing right now, because it could be a great fortune for him, or maybe he gets a 5-year contract, or if he continues to go off the rails here, it could be hitting the iceberg and his Titanic could sink, and he's scrapping, looking for another sort of media venue to go and like basically put his product out there.
And also the other thing that he said, the thing he said about, and this was completely swept under the rug because of everything. I know something else happened in this press conference, so this media scrum. He basically was saying something about WWE and the way he's been treated by them, and the AEW's been treated. Like he feels like how the way Jim Herd was treated back before he left the business.
David Crockett, right?
David Crockett.
Jimmy, the Crockett Promotions.
Crockett Promotions. And he basically said, I do apologize, Crockett Promotions. And he said, I know how Jim Crockett felt.
Yeah.
And he says, but I have a lot more, but fuck that shit. He said something like that. I don't know if he said exactly fuck that shit, but he says he has a lot more money than Jim Crockett, and he's not going. It's just Tony Khan. It's like he's changed as a human being to the guy he was 3 years ago to who he is now.
Yep.
This is very quickly becoming a Dark Side of the Ring episode.
Yes. 100%, man. It could go that way.
And there was a great, anyone saw Botchamania, I think episode 459 is the most recent one. They actually used clips of Young Bucks videos and other people interviewing as if they're talking about CM Punk.
Right.
And throwing in the CM Punk stuff and how Tony Khan reacted. It was pretty funny. So check it out. But CM Punk has lost a lot of respect from a lot of people. It's just that simple. He went from, it kind of reminded me of Batman when in our Dark Knight Rises, when he says, you die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. CM Punk has become the legitimate villain. And it's not because it's good. It's almost go away heat.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out, because if Discovery and Time Warner say to Tony Khan, we're really only interested if he comes back, what does he do?
Well, he's going to have to continue to put up some good rating numbers and see what happens. But Tony Khan has got to make a change somewhere. Something's got to give here. And you're at a very significant fork in the road here.
If I were a gambling man, I'd say I'm 60% sure Punk might just quit, right? That, like, if I had to put money on it. However, if Time Warner goes to Tony Khan and says, listen, yeah, the only way this deal's happening is if you have some sort of plan 8 months from now for when he returns, and you have to do it this way, CM Punk's going to probably look for more money to make it right to him, if you will, and might look to come back, and he might very well be that villain at that point.
Yeah, and even Road Dogg, and we know how much I love Road Dogg. But even Road Dogg says he was terrible to work with, and he was kind of an asshole, and he just had come back, and Punk was a big star at that point, and the New Age Outlaws were getting their last run with WWE. And so he said if he was back there longer, he would have actually fought CM Punk. And it's just, you're getting all these different Bobby Fish, for Christ's sake. Bobby Fish just comes out and the context was, I don't know, just for me personally, there's something about CM Punk that's just completely unlikable. Like, just calling him completely unlikable. So CM Punk ruffled a lot of feathers and pissed a lot of people off. So the idea is,
you see Bobby Fish kick out at the 3 count?
They did bring that up too. And
then you see Bobby Fish is also donating money to a QAnon wrestling referee.
I didn't see that at all. He also shaved his mustache. He looks fucked.
Yeah. So Bobby Fish to me is a bullshit individual at this point.
All right.
He was my least favorite guy.
Fuck you, Bobby Fish.
Yeah, exactly. Because honestly, that's another thing I wish I had in my timeline for CM Punk, where he's got the least of the undisputed elite, if you will, in the undisputed era out there, kicking out of the 3 count, trying to show him up while he's trying to go and become the world champion. Yeah, thank you, Bobby Fish. You're doing business great too. So much that even the Young Bucks didn't want to work with you either.
Ooh, Vladi Dadi unloading on Bobby Fish. Fuck you, Bobby Fish.
And he hates him so much he's got to go and ride his coattails on social media.
He was unrecognizable without his mustache. I didn't even know. I don't even know if it was really him. It could have been somebody else.
I saw the gray hair, and he was hardly recognizable. And
he looked like, he didn't look like a wrestler. That's for damn sure. He looked like he was a stepfather in a Hallmark movie.
Oh, the single dad. Yeah, we know the role well.
Yeah, the single dad, So anyways, AEW back to normalcy. We wanted to get into that. WWE, they made a lot of noise recently. The head of the table and Logan Paul are going to be main eventing Crown Jewel. Are you fucking kidding me? All right. I am shockingly not as upset about that as I would have been before I saw Logan Paul wrestle that.
It's crazy that he sort of earned it that quickly. And you know what? To me, it's almost like the biggest gimmick match without actually having a major gimmick involved. And plus, it's in Saudi Arabia. So I'm not really even caring that much. And I'm actually interested in watching the match because Logan Paul can go. And I think he's going to do something pretty cool in this match. He's definitely not winning, but he's going to take him to his almost breaking point, I think, here. It's going to be a cool match.
And this show's going to make a shitload of money. All the YouTube douchebags are going to be watching this YouTube douchebag. Not these two YouTube douchebags. Not us. But we have I am kind of, I still don't think he deserves that kind of spot, but fuck, I mean, it's going to make money. They're going to do and they have 7 weeks to build this thing. Roman will be there for 3 or 4 of those shows.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of cool things happening right now. They got it, but here's the problem. Roman is going to be cheered in every portion. Anytime there's a promo, anytime anything happens, you're starting to see Roman almost form into like a tweener in this situation because Logan Paul, they can try as they might. They can try as much as they want. He's never going to be cheered because people think he's a douchebag.
Yes. Yeah.
And he never did what CM Punk did.
Yeah, it's true. He didn't have the chance to work with the Young Bucks either, though.
Young Bucks wouldn't work with him. He's too big.
That's true. He would make them look just like miniature versions of their already miniature selves.
And I don't think he's much of a Christian, that Logan Paul. He doesn't come off as a Christian.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't vote like them, much like you don't vote like them either.
I don't. But if all of these things, I'd like to, we don't have to get it. We'll see. The Young Bucks, I still have a lot of faith in the Elite, and I'm looking forward to being the Elite on its first hiatus in 5 or 6 years. So
yeah, they need to regroup on that show anyways. They got to figure out what they want to do.
Yeah, the Dark Order dick jokes were getting old. Dolph Ziggler's kid brother was getting old. I don't know what's going on there as well. He's there, and he is about a third of every show now. And they wonder why they're getting like less than 100,000 views per episode now. But what have you? But let's get into Logan Paul and Roman. Were you able to catch the press conference?
You know what? I saw clips of the press conference. And I'm totally, please, by all means, get into the press conference of the points you want to make. But the one thing I got to say is I'm totally fascinated and distracted by anything that Sami Zayn and Jey Uso are doing at this point with each other.
Oh my gosh. It's probably the best story happening in WWE right now. And I don't think it is.
Yeah, it is.
I really don't think
I love Sammy. I so love that guy.
And even Solo Sikoa picking Sammy over Jay later on. You ain't on your game today, Jay. Pookie.
Yeah, man. And it's like Solo's and it empowers Sammy. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go help him. He's like the honorary Oos.
He is. He's working his magic. And you know what? He's been more effective for the Tribal Chief recently. And Solo Sikoa taking those bullets for them.
Yes.
As they tended to, even for taking the bullets for the Usos. Sammy's doing everything. He's really the baby face. He's doing everything, and he doesn't really seem like he's being shady. Like, I always thought that in the back of my head, Sammy had some other kind of concoction just to turn on Roman at the last minute. But you're starting to feel like it's still what Sammy's doing, right? He wouldn't be this loyal to the bloodline just for the fuck of it, right? Like, Sammy always has something going. He's one of the smartest wrestlers in the company. But who knows?
And he wants to be accepted, I feel like, at this point.
That's what I'm saying. I think initially he had some other things. Now it seems like there's real love starting to build. But Paul Heyman now seems to be taking some exception to Sami Zayn as well.
What did Paul say exactly?
Sammy basically, I forget the line was, I forget what the exact line was, but Sammy basically started talking over Heyman, and Heyman got insulted and walked off.
Oh, okay. That was during the actual during SmackDown itself, I believe, right?
Yes,
okay,
yes. Not the press conference. The press conference I didn't see. I wanted to get your highlights from what you saw from it.
Yeah, I didn't really see too much of it, but then I'm watching on social media, and there's a picture of the bloodline there, and Sammy's there, and then Jimmy Uso is putting the clown face over Sammy's face, and Sammy's a little bit insulted by that. He's like, really, Us? He's like, wow, one of those things. And then another thing that was sort of funny was like, I guess Rikishi posted a picture and said something about, of the bloodline, and it's like something about his three sons being there, and Sammy responded, "It's kind of like your four sons, isn't it?" Or something
Almost
like
like
that.
4. Yeah, I did see that. I did see that. That was nice.
Yeah,
Sammy's doing a great job. I think he's been the most compelling part of WWE recently.
Yeah, and what I love too is this: you have the buildup of Kevin Owens on Raw, where he is like really over, and it's almost, I'm not going to compare him to Stone Cold, but he's really starting to cut promos that cut to the bone, especially against the old guard there. And as this deteriorates between Sammy and the bloodline, this is going to veer into Sammy and Kevin Owens getting back together, being a tag team, and probably battling it out with the Usos, with the bloodline themselves. And that should be great.
That writes itself, and you would think,
Yeah.
again, we have this faith now that they will do the things that make sense because Triple H is there. So we're hoping that is the way it goes. Speaking of Kevin Owens, let's go into his promo with Austin Theory this past week. We can call him Austin Theory again. Thank you very much, Triple H, the gift that keeps on giving. Triple H, he continues to help. And when we wound up having Kevin Owens interrupt Austin Theory, they had a little interaction the week before. But Austin Theory, many people thought Vince, well, he was a Vince guy. He was the heir apparent. He was going to be the next Cena. He was already given and still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. He was going to give it all the opportunity over and over. And a lot of people were wondering why. What does Vince see except for, I can make him a star?
Right.
Yep. Kevin Owens really spoke to a lot of that. What did you think about the Kevin Owens promo? Break it down for us. Vladi Dadi, Kevin Owens, one of your favorites, and what he said to Austin Theory this past week on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it was one of the more open and honest promos I've seen in wrestling in a while. And he just spoke from the heart. He said everything that you pretty much are thinking as a wrestling fan. And the line that got me was great, where it was just, Owens went and compared himself and Johnny Gargano as the heart and soul of wrestling. And he compared Austin Theory as the appendix of wrestling, being completely expendable. Which, if that doesn't cut you in half, even, during this promo, standing across from him, I don't know what does. And you could just feel the oof, like, go through the crowd as he's saying it. Even the TV, when I heard that, I was like, oh, I'm like, that is a vicious line there, but it's the truth. And it honestly, it built up Kevin some, but it also, if anything, it should make Austin Theory a bit stronger. It's getting to the root of the matter. They definitely see something there. They got to work with it, of course, but they had to stop basically taking the Vince route, and they've totally just upturned Vince's whole thing with it. They haven't demoralized him completely by taking the Money in the Bank briefcase away from him yet, a la Otis, right? So we're not there yet. He still has it, and they're trying to build him up the right way. And it's almost cathartic, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and the line that I actually liked was, you can count how many people that look like me and Johnny Gargano on one hand.
Yeah.
And we can count, and I forget the number, he said, hundreds or maybe even thousands of guys like you. And they last, and then you never hear from them again. And that's very, very good point as well. And that's something that we've seen through the Vince McMahon era. I think you need to impress Triple H a little bit more than just having a look. You're going to need to be a little bit better, which is what I like about it.
With Johnny, I almost get the feeling like I get the Bryan Danielson vibes here, as far as like the ultimate underdog thing going on there.
Yeah.
Like, this is they're going to, I think, go this route with him. Like, you can't push him to go and get involved with Roman Reigns right away, immediately, of course. However, if you start building him up, and he's already over, the fans are digging him. He's like a little bit of a cult hero already from NXT into WWE now. And the sky's the limit, it seems, for a guy that is, not a big dude. And it just, he puts on a good show. And really, man, he's got a good future there. And it's a very good positive thing right now. And I've seen Gargano wrestle in person, put on a great match. he's a talented guy. Is he my favorite wrestler? No, but you know what? If it's him and Ciampa or him and Drew McIntyre, him Andrade, like I've seen really good matches with Johnny Gargano. Totally entertained, believable, if you will, for whatever it's worth.
Oh,
So,
I will. I will.
Yeah, so there you go, man. It just that's what I'm looking forward to here, and for like Ciampa and Gargano, who at one point said, "Hey, we don't ever want to leave NXT." Man, they're drinking the Kool-Aid big time now, and they're all about the Big Show now.
I think a lot of the people that were scared of what was going to happen, and I mean, I think we both thought Ciampa was kind of probably going to do not much on the main roster. Now guys like that are going to get those opportunities. Again, I don't love Gargano. I never really did. But hey, look, he's definitely a good void to fill for that underdog role that Bryan Danielson, aka or FKA Daniel Bryan, meant to that. What Bryan Danielson is now is a complete different animal than what he was in WWE. He's not an underdog in AEW. He's a killer in AEW.
Yeah.
So Gargano can fulfill that role, and I think it works out well. And I think there's a lot of just a good. Again, the undercard is getting better and better with Triple H, which was the problem with WWE. Except for one or two different storylines, you didn't care. Now you have a lot of different fires in the whole. And again, I always said this: Triple H is not philosophically. He's very similar to Vince. He's not going to do anything that's ground shit breaking or anything crazy creatively. I don't think he's that great. I don't think he's a Heyman. I don't think he's a Heyman or a Vince in his prime, or even an Eric Bischoff. Just kidding, Eric. Anyway, but he's competent, and he should be competent. And I think you're going to see how good he is. Again, as I said before, by the time WrestleMania comes to its eclipse, and he's got every ability to make this one of the historic WrestleManias ever. We'll know how good Triple H is as a booker. With all the bells and whistles, all of the toys that WWE has, we'll know by WrestleMania how good that card is and how much we're going to care about it, because WrestleMania is really meh, like 80% of it is meh.
Yeah.
Let's see what Triple H, if Triple H can go top to bottom, can he give us a WrestleMania that we'll all really remember and care about? And I think he will. So far, so good. And Kevin Owens, wow. I mean, it was just the passion was there. He's definitely more of a baby face than he ever was before. So at least getting cheered as much. I mean, I know he had that good run with Roman back when the pandemic had just started. Was it when the pandemic started, or was it? No, was it? Yeah, the pandemic had just started, and they had that.
Yeah,
and they had those matches. I think Kevin Owens is on point, and you love to see it. So. Fantastic stuff in WWE overall. Ronda Rousey's even been better lately. She's cutting decent promos. Her and Shayna Baszler are going to get together. They kind of teased that at SmackDown. So I thought SmackDown was pretty good. And again, to your point, Sami Zayn and the Bloodline is really the most compelling story in WWE right now. We're getting Chad Gable. We're getting Chad Gable and Otis 2 times in a week. Good to see them on TV more consistently. Ricochet gets a big win on Sammy. So a lot of cool things happening with guys that weren't getting any sniffs that we all wanted to see. They're getting their time in WWE right now. I'd like to see AJ Styles in some real meaningful matches soon, but we'll see from there.
You know what? I agree with it. And you know what? I was thinking about this because you brought up that point a couple times. And I'm like, you know what? There's something to that. Something I forgot to mention. Evidently, when AJ re-signed again, he wanted to spend time with his son, who I guess is playing high school football or something. So he couldn't really commit as much. So we're right now in that season. So I after we get past high school football season, well, let's see what happens with AJ. He might become a little bit more prevalent on as far as the rotation, the storyline, and all that. But yeah, you were making a lot of sense, and I was like, man, he's right. What's the holdup there? And then I remembered they were giving him that sort of leeway because of, I guess, his oldest son is involved in high school sports.
That's really cool. I liked it that they're actually able to do that. And that's something that AJ did say that was very important to him. So, and probably kept him from not going from AEW. At the time when he renegotiated, he could have went to AEW. So he probably had some demands. And that's why AEW just being in existence has made it better for the wrestlers and the workers. Now, look at that segue. we go on over to AEW. Back over. We kind of finished taking shits on Tony Khan's inability to manage his company in the beginning of the show. We have a pay-per-view-esque card this week coming up on AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage. Overall, we're going to go through all the matches right now. We thought it would be fun. The big reset button for AEW, even though it's not much of a reset because John Mox is going to be the champion, and he had the title for most, at least the interim title for most of the summer. So, are you excited, Vladi Dadi? Just going to go through this card real quick. Are we doing picks as if for a pay-per-view? We're not doing that, are we?
No, you know what? Let's just do gut reactions. Like, let's not do this as a pay-per-view. How about that? Let's just talk about our thoughts here. And if we can, we have both the Rampage and Dynamite lineups here. I mean, listen, one thing I'll say is I do love professional wrestling, but the idea of sitting at that stadium for that many matches on a Wednesday night, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was a long show. I was able to do it last year. It was a very long
right. This is a long night. So, all right. So let's look, right? I'm assuming, taking a look at what's going on in terms of Dynamite. Let's see here. If you were to start that show, I would assume you're starting with Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaimed.
I mean, you could do that, or you could lead with Pat. You could do.
Bless you.
Got to cut that out. Jesus, sorry, buddy. You could do that, or you could lead with Pac and Orange Cassidy. I think Pac wins that one. But it's going to be a good match. You could lead with that. They like opening with Orange Cassidy. So Tony might do that.
I gotta mention something here in terms of the last Dynamite, last Dynamite. I thought it was strange that they booked Penta and Phoenix against Swerve and Our Glory to go and job after winning the Trios Championship. And then basically in the next interview segment, they have Pac getting his ass handed to him by Orange Cassidy. I have a very hard time believing they would have done anything close to this with Omega and the Bucks upon winning the Trios belts. It's sort of like what I'm getting at here. So I thought it was a little bit of a weird thing to sort of knock them down a peg after just winning the Trios belts.
I think they can recover. I think they have a Trios victory over Best Friends, and Pac has a victory over. I hear what you're saying, but
just kind of strange.
I think they wanted to give Swerve and Our Glory another title defense because they say how good the title defense is. They only had I think they only defended it 3 or 4 times, so it hasn't been that great of a title run. It really hasn't been. But their match, all of their matches have been great though. To their defense, every single one of their matches have been top notch. You can't deny that. And I think you're going to see that too. It would be great to open that show. I would, if it were me, I would say open with the Acclaimed and Swerve and Our Glory. But I think Tony's probably going to open with Orange Cassidy.
Okay. So, all right. So you think Pac's going to win that? I hope Pac wins that, man.
Yeah, I think they're setting up some kind of match overseas with. Well, Ethan Page is one, but he also, I think there's a little Will Ospreay Pac thing happening as well for possibly down the road.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I would agree Pac is going to win that match as well. Then Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaimed. I mean, it's
Scissor me, Vladi. Scissor me, Vladi.
There you go. We scissored each other.
Scissor me, Vladi, Dottie. Scissor me, Dottie. That's what I do.
There you go.
Scissor me, Dottie. Wow. We just made our first t-shirt, ladies and gentlemen. We just came out with it.
That's awesome, man. We got merch now.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
I won't work with Colt Cabana on that. Pro Wrestling Tees, we can't find it there.
Wow. He has a bank account with his mother, right?
Yeah, I do know that. And you know what? His brother is a director for Family Guy and also shares a bank account with his mother, was his retort.
I actually saw that retort. I love it. He was playing a video game or something, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Fucking guys with their video games. I'm starting to agree with the Undertaker. Why don't you guys go get some guns and knives and get some whiskey in you?
Yeah, have a Jack Daniels for everyone.
Jerk offs.
Toughen
Especially
up.
the Chicago ones.
Yeah. So what do we have here? We have a fatal 4-way for the title, interim title match for the ladies.
Yeah.
Tony Storm versus Serena Deeb versus Athena versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Tony Storm's winning that.
I don't see anyone else even coming close to winning. I mean, you're not going to put it on Britt Baker right now after you just gave to Tony Storm. So I think it's a way to get more women involved without spending too much time on the women, because unfortunately the women are the portions of the show that Tony doesn't have confidence that they're going to draw in right now. And because the numbers tell you that they don't. And the crowd oftentimes tells you that they don't. So this is a way to kind of keep as many, I think, get as many women, eyes and women as possible, have a really good match because you have 4 really good wrestlers here. So I think it's going to be a very good showcase for Dynamite for the ladies, and hopefully gives Tony Storm a little bit more momentum.
I see Jamie Hayter getting involved there and maybe costing whoever a chance at beating Storm, and then it sets it up for Storm versus Hayter.
Might be Baker. She might cost it for Baker because she still owes Baker.
Yeah, she owes her a receipt.
She does owe her a receipt. But did she do it in this spot, or did she pick another different spot? So,
she might pick the media scrum.
I'm fucking tired, and I'm old, and I'm hurt, and my ass is perfect. That's my Tony Storm impersonation, everybody. For those of you paying attention there on YouTube land.
And Britt Baker, according to certain rumors, has left Adam Cole baby and is now with Christian Cage.
I can't see that being the case. Where did you hear that? Come on.
I'm not saying where. I'm not even saying it happened.
You can't do that. What would Adam Cole baby say? Come on. You used to be a mark for that guy.
Used to be is the key term there.
All right. Well, anyway.
But what's ironic is this. There was that clip of Punk driving the car, Bryan Danielson in the passenger seat, and Cage and Britt Baker in the back seat. And they were talking about different things and recorded it. They were all traveling together. So I'm just going to put that there. Not saying it is.
Wow.
Hopefully her and Adam Cole are still together and a great couple.
It's not like you're suggesting it's an Edge Lita thing. Adam Cole's recovering at home while Britt Baker's on the road getting cozy with Christian. Come on. That's tabloid bullshit. We're above that. We're above that, really? Sir.
So we'll see how it all pans out. I'm most likely wrong, but it's good to go and sort of stir the pot in that way. That's how we get YouTube likes, right?
Well, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do. We got that, and we got to start doing our comedy bits. We got to bring the comedy bits back.
Very true.
We maybe we do a spot where Vince McMahon comes in because he's not doing anything right now. We got Vince on the show. He's always gets a hoot.
Vince's reaction to the media scrum.
Oh my goodness!
I'd fire everybody.
Oh, say what you want about how much I'm an old pervert and a piece of shit. CM Punk wouldn't have the balls to do that in front of me because I'd smack his little pussy ass. I'll snap that Pepsi tattoo right off his greasy body. God, he makes me sick. I could have made him a man. By the way, I heard Colt Cabana. He almost made as much money off of CM Punk as I did. Fuck him. I'm still number one.
Can't believe he was mentioned in the same breath. Scotty Feldman or whatever else.
Did you know how much a piece of shit he is? He has the bank account with his mother. What a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. He's a son of a bitch.
Linda doesn't even have a bank account with me, and we're married.
She also lets me have sex with many, many different women under 25. God bless her.
Vince is like the new Leonardo DiCaprio, huh? He keeps it around that age range.
Well, so
how about this match, Mr. Valley?
Yes.
Claudio Castagnoli versus Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor title here. What do you think about this one?
I think Claudio wins it. Jericho should never have the Ring of Honor championship. He just shouldn't ever, especially if you don't have a television show to put him on. So I think this is going to be a good match. Jericho has this new thing where he thinks he's a great professional wrestler, like a tactician, like a mat technician. He's had some good matches, though. I mean, you say what you want about Jericho, and I know you have killed him recently. He's had arguably the best year of his career in a very long time. Matches wise.
Yeah. The Lionheart Jericho, I do appreciate in recent matches for sure. He's been way over for too over, especially when Bryan Danielson's involved for my liking. However, with this match, it was intriguing for him to bring up the whole him never holding the Ring of Honor title, and I'm like, Jesus, he's gonna convince Tony to do this, man. I'm like, oh God, here we go. Wow. But like you said, they don't have their own show. I'm hoping Tony Khan does not decide to do that. I hope Claudio keeps it because, yeah, I mean, you got to keep it on Claudio. This is crazy if they don't consider otherwise.
Yeah, and also I think you're already going to have a new world champion and you're going to have new tag team champions. Yeah. You don't need any more title changes tonight.
Yeah. I mean, plus, what would Wheeler Yuta do if Claudio didn't have the title and he couldn't just stand there aimlessly?
I don't give a fuck about Wheeler Yuta.
Oh man, has his stock dropped?
Daniel Garcia took over as that role, even though they're on the different factions.
It shows how interchangeable they are. And then finally, we got Mr. Moxley of the Blackpool Combat Club versus Bryan Danielson of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Well, I really, really desperately want it to be Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson is the biggest star on your show right now. I honestly think that. I know Moxley's been there since the beginning, and I know Moxley is the heart and soul. I know Moxley has spoken two great impassioned promos. John Moxley I've been a Moxley fan since the beginning, as you know. I even liked him as Dean Ambrose. So you and I are on different pages there. You fall in line with Plumber Moxley, and he cuts himself after 2 minutes into the match, and which are all valid. But I like Moxley. I think he gets the win here. He's going for legendary status. They're giving him that. But then I think he's going to lose it to MJF. And I don't like the way they're building this match. Because first of all, Jericho, Danielson's getting telegraphed a mile away. Jericho says, I'm going to take on Danielson next week before Danielson actually wrestled.
Right. That was a bad slip up.
And so, okay, cool. And now MJF is cutting this badass promo specifically on John Moxley.
Yeah, and ever since he came back, even the night after All Out, it was Moxley against MJF. I feel like they really telegraphed this. I would have preferred if Moxley came out, being the devil that he is, and cut promos on everybody like leading up to this and just getting more precise as they get to the championship match here. And versus just showing all his chips in the middle of the table here.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way in hell Bryan Danielson wins this match now.
Right.
Why would you have MJF spend that much time talking like a whole thing about how he's gonna be the biggest demon in his life? This big, it's fascinating. Yet Bryan Danielson should be your champion right now.
Right.
He should be the champion. He's a bigger star than John Moxley. He's going to draw more people in. He's Daniel Bryan, for Christ's sake. Yes. And you're completely underutilizing your biggest star. I know Moxley's been there longer. I know Moxley's probably considered more of a badass, whatever. Moxley's not a bigger star than Bryan Danielson. They're both very popular within the AEW crowd and professional wrestling fans. But Bryan Danielson has much more widespread appeal. He has more widespread appeal. And you saw his main event, keeping it in the millions, opposed to Kenny Omega's return, 800,000. Bryan Danielson is what will help you get eyes on the product. For some reason, he's been taking a backseat to everybody and their mother. CM Punk, Adam Cole,
Daniel Garcia,
John Moxley. There's no way Brian Danielson needs to be the star player on your team right now, pal. Give the motherfucker the ball, and he's going to run with it.
Yep.
There is no reason why you need it, because you could put the MJF thing off until Revolution even. And you could have Danielson have a nice, solid run right here, having great matches, get him involved in one really good storyline with some ancillary matches in between, and bang, you have a good, solid run. He loses to MJF at Revolution. You could do that. But it's a panic button. Let's give it back on Moxley. I love John Moxley, but it's the same old, same old. You want to start anew. You want to start fresh. Moxley is still, he represents that moment. He was when it lost the title to Punk to begin with.
Yeah. Turn the page, as Bob Seger said.
I prefer Rush. They have a song called Turn the Page as well.
So in terms of classic rock, I think we should just say turn the page here, Mr. Tony Khan.
We disengage, we turn the page, racing down the river from the past.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. That was good.
So on over to Rampage we go.
Yes.
And where's is FTR wrestling?
Don't get me started.
Well, wait, where's FTR?
They're just not over enough, man. I mean, we can't have them on there.
Jesus Christ. They are doing a very big show for New Japan with Aussie Open soon, though.
I was going to ask you about that. I didn't want to text you about it because I just want to save it for this, as you are the New Japan oracle, if you will. Who wins that match?
I think FTR is not going to. I think this is their first title defense, isn't it? So it might be their second, but they're not going to lose it just yet. And okay. I think they're going to actually have a run in Japan. They're going to probably be at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm sure Tony Khan could spare him on Wednesday night since he doesn't use them on Wednesday nights typically anyway.
They're usually free. Unless you need Dax to wrestle a singles match and job them.
Oh, I wonder if FTR will fall out of favor too because of their friendship with CM Punk. They were one of his allies, one of his few allies in that locker room.
It was probably good business that their match was earlier in the night. They weren't scheduled for the scrum and they left early. It probably was a plus.
They left the show early. It's interesting.
No, they left after they were done. Like they weren't lined up for the scrum. So I mean, you can imagine what would happen in the locker room if the Bucks and FTR were there.
I'm surprised they didn't stay till the end of the night though to see Punk wrestle. Moxley.
Same reason Hangman Page wasn't there. He wasn't scheduled for it, so he was gone.
So they didn't stay and watch the show. I'm interested. That's surprising.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, hey, they want to get home to their families. It's a Sunday night. They don't have TV the next day. I get it.
Yeah. They want to hit the bar.
I know Dax does. He loves his drinks. He loves his alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't personally do alcohol myself.
So what do we got here in terms of?
We got Rampage, brother. AEW Rampage, the best hour that doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
All right, let's start with this one. This one annoys me. Action Bronson and Hook against Daddy Magic Matt Menard and everybody's favorite jobber, Cool Hand Angelo Parker. And how is he Angelo Parker? Like, is his dad Parker? Like, his dad's Parker? He's not Italian fully? Like, what is going on here? Because by the switchblade comb, I would think that he's completely paisan the way he's trying to portray this. I mean, again, he's not necessarily flipping a pizza like we saw on Dynamite this week.
I like those guys. They're jerk-off mid-card tag team, so it's not really that big of a deal. But
what do you think about the pizza guy that was on Dynamite this last week?
I thought it was hilarious. Ethan Page kicked the shit out of him.
It didn't go over so well with a couple of the other talents, though.
Like who? Who gives a shit? Who's what? Someone's pissed off that Ethan Page. The big thing he hates is the comedic wrestling thing, and he actually attacked one, and then he wound up challenging one to a fight in the same. I thought that was well done.
Yeah, that was a good segue. But I know Andrade said maybe I can come to the ring making tacos. And then and I'm not going to even say this is necessarily justifies the comment, but I know Anthony Ogogo was very pissed off that this guy was on there versus him.
Dude, he was on for 3 seconds and got kicked in the face. Who gives a shit? He's an internet sensation. He's an internet darling.
But it's another shiny toy that Tony can't keep his hands off of. You know what I mean? Even for that
for 5 seconds and got kicked in the face. I don't care enough to talk about it. He's a goofy. If we ever see All Elite there, whatever, dude. Just make a faction with him, Orange Cassidy, and Danhausen, and just literally just give him a sitcom instead of having him on your TV show anymore. Just give him a sitcom.
We can call it Three's Company.
Three's Company too. You could probably have a really funny YouTube page with those three guys getting into unique and fun adventures backstage at AEW Dynamite. I think it would be a fun show. Throw RJ City in there. You're cooking with grease, my friend.
There you go. So what do you think of Action Bronson and Hook versus these two jobbers?
I don't give a shit. But
even
for the sake, first of all, if Hook didn't have this phenomena popularity, this would be 4 jobbers. Okay.
And that's the thing. It's like they've destroyed Hook along the way. He was the Rookie of Vladi Dadi award-winning Rookie of the Year last year. And how the mighty have fallen.
I mean, he's still really popular, and he's the FTW champion. He just won the championship less than like a month ago, so I don't think it's that bad.
It's a fake championship, let's be honest.
It's still something that his father wore, and it's something that they can give him because the guy is not good enough in the ring to really go yet. So it's something to keep him popular and keep people. I don't think they're not rushing Hook, and I think it's a good thing because he's not a great wrestler by any stretch right now. So I disagree with you there. I think it's a good thing that they're taking their time with him. He's still getting great reactions when he comes out. He still has that fire theme song. We're good.
Sung by Action Bronson.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It sounded like Ghostface Killer. So there we have that, of course. What else do we have? We got Sting and Darby Allin versus the House of Black. By the way, quick thing, is Malachi Black completely done? He said he was leaving to go hit a reset, but he cut a promo in his last match. And he said something to the effect that he's going to recalibrate his life and his soul. Yeah. And it's not goodbye, it's see you soon or something of that effect. So he may not be, I mean, it was a conditional release. You would assume he will not be allowed to go to wrestle in WWE until his contract's up.
Yeah, there's definitely, I don't expect to see him as the new leader of Judgment Day anytime soon. reading between the lines. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, in terms of House of Black between Brody King and Buddy Matthews and Julia Hart, I mean, it's almost like Judgment Day here, right? Like,
yeah, no, it is. They have booked Brody King to be very, very good, though. They booked Brody King very strong. I don't know. We'll see. They have a lot of work to do, though.
Yeah, I mean, King and Darby, Sting and Darby are not losing this match. There's no way.
No, Julia Hart is dirty now. I like it. Sorry.
She's unkempt?
No, she's all black. It's pretty nice. I like goth, like the gothy chicks instead of the cheerleader chicks.
Yeah, I saw something that Pillman said that he said all their steam got taken away when they took Julia away from us.
Jesus Christ. Really, bud? That cheerleader was the big golden goose for your act? Let's go. Come on now.
Yeah.
Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, they're having a rematch. So oftentimes Tony does this. We said before, they have a later match where they put the other person over. Powerhouse Hobbs beat him so bad the first one. Ricky Starks really popular. Does Ricky Starks win this one? I feel like Powerhouse might win this one, but it'll be a little harder. But I think Powerhouse might actually win this one.
I'm going to say Ricky Starks wins this one.
You would assume, but it just...
It's my thinking, yeah.
You're probably right. I would agree with you, friend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Jade Cargill against Diamante.
Obviously, Jade Cargill, my girl, is going to keep on rocking and rolling.
Yeah. Ray Phoenix versus Jungle Boy.
Why? I think it's going to be a really great match, but I think that Jungle Boy wins because you got to keep up the momentum if he has any chance to beat Luchasaurus.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only thing, but you know what? That sort of sucks too, because it's like, here, Ray Phoenix just won the trios belt. If he jobs out the Jungle Boy, which he probably should, but again, like, why are they putting these guys in positions of jobbing out?
I think at the same point, at some point, I think AEW has the philosophy that people can lose, but still have great matches. I think people rather be on, in many cases, particularly people like Ray Phoenix, who's considered a tag wrestler anyway at this point in time. They do that a lot. Right. Dax loses every one of his singles matches too, and it hasn't hurt him at all. So I don't think this hurts Ray Phoenix at all. But I don't love Jungle Boy, so it's one of those things.
Jungle Boy with a snare trap. Let's go to this other one first, right? Eddie Kingston against Sammy Guevara.
I love this match. Real heat there. Legit heat. Eddie Kingston with a full-blown beard now. He really looks unkept.
Yeah. In New York City. I can't imagine Eddie Kingston losing in New York City.
The heat, though, man. That would make Bully Ray's erection as big as Texas. The heat if Sammy Guevara wins.
And did you see Sammy did something a little bit unusual on social media where he basically is saying goodbye? He's referring to himself as Samuel Guevara. And did the Truman Show end shot as if he's done with this? This is like today or last night.
Let's check it out. We're gonna check out the old Twitter here. Sammy G. I am following him.
Yeah. Did he block you yet?
No. I say nice things about him. I like him.
Say, yeah, that's good. So these wrestlers can be fickle.
At this point, it's all right. So Sammy Guevara. Well, actually, there's a lot of things if you want to read between the lines here. Time Mello. She tweeted, "The most important thing in the world, family with a heart. We will always stick together. There's no place like home with my boys. It's like nothing else matters, and I feel like the happiest person alive. I love you guys. Now, the most important thing in the world is we will always stick together." So that's a part. Then he wrote and tweeted with his first match and all the moments he's had, the big moments he's had in AEW. "I hope you live a life you're proud of. And if you're not, I hope you have the courage to start over again." We came up short last night. It is what it is. Thank you to everyone who has helped me get to this point. It's been a hell of a ride. Where we go next, we go with faith. And then, the Truman Show, goodbye. That's interesting. Very interesting. I can't see his contract being up because he signed a contract early and all their contracts expire in January. So I don't know. It could just because he lost the match to Moxley. I'm not sure. It's very interesting though, because all of a sudden another pillar.
But the name change of Samuel instead of Sammy.
I think it's still Sammy Guevara. It's still Sammy Guevara. Oh no, Samuel Guevara.
See, the little things there, man.
I wonder what that means.
Maybe Cody has an in with him for WWE, and he knows where he's going to end up.
That's the thing. Cody's going to have Cody had a lot of people that loved him at that company too.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, maybe Cody was a little bit of a voice of reason in some of the booking decisions that Tony has had over the last year. Just putting it out there. Wild year in professional wrestling. And we still got a quarter of the year to go, folks. This has already been one of the most historic, probably the most historic year in professional wrestling probably ever. Vince McMahon retires, all the shit with AEW.
Triple H.
I mean, it's so many. This has been the craziest year And I don't know. We have one more match to go, though, don't we?
Yeah, and it is the quote-unquote golden ticket out of Willy Wonka's Battle Royale, which I am not a fan of Battle Royales, but we have 4 people here in this Battle Royale.
It's like a Final Four, if anyone remembers the great Final Four that featured Bret Hart winning his 4th World Championship. But, of course, he lost it the next night to Sid Vicious.
You are a plethora of information. I love it.
That's the beginning of him getting screwed all the time.
So we have your buddy Lance Archer here. Elizabeth, New Jersey's own Jay Lethal.
Lance Archer's in this match?
Yeah. He's
Good
in the
for him.
picture. Then you have Penta. And then you have everybody's favorite millennial cowboy. The stirrer of pots. Adam Hangman Page.
He ain't got shit to listen to any of these stupid old timers.
Yeah, he doesn't have to listen to anybody. He's the reason why we have AEW now. So it's obvious
he's not the reason it's going to be destroyed.
Is it being destroyed, really?
I mean, it was damaged more this past week than last. I don't know. A lot more drama the last 2 weeks than there ever was before anyone else.
So to me, it's an obvious thing where Hangman's going to win this, which leads to Hangman eventually versus MJF. And MJF has always like sort of made mention of him in the past.
Yeah, they actually, and if you remember correctly, they had words and they kind of had a little mini program early in the first pay-per-view. Max was actually eliminated by Hangman Adam Page in that battle royal. And if you paid attention to the being the elite build up, they were the 2 biggest storyline between the 2 of them. Hangman famously saying, "I'm going to beat you where you wish you had the money you pretend like you have." Now this is again 3 years ago, but
right.
They have a little bit of a history, those 2.
So that's where we're going towards that. I mean, I don't know when the golden ticket winner gets to go after the title. I mean, I don't know if that's a thing where Hangman is going for the title at Full Gear, maybe against a Bryan Danielson or Moxley.
Aren't there standings? Like, don't they have rankings? Like, don't the rankings mean anything anymore?
You mean records?
Yeah, remember
rankings?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Well, they don't count for tag team wrestling. That's been made obvious.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These rankings were supposed to make AEW somewhat of a legit looking situation, and they have now become a shell of their former selves. They got to get back to that too. That was the kind of things that we liked about AEW, the things that we really loved about AEW, that the rankings meant something. But you have FTR they've been the number 1 ranked tag team in AEW for how long? You're having all these matches that willy-nilly of people getting tagged world championship matches. Yep. Where is this? Where this was supposed to be what you were supposed to not be, Tony. Get your shit together, bro. I've been saying it for months now.
He's got to get his shit together.
Get your shit together, bro. Bro, hey, bro, get your shit together, bro. Bro. Anyways, so Vladi Dadi, that was a nice week. Not as controversial as the last couple, but this was a good week. What are you excited looking forward toward WWE AEW this week? What are some real things you're really personally going to be keeping a close eye on in the week to come in WWE and AEW, respectively?
Anything Sammy's touching right now, Sami Zayn.
Guevara, yes, we talked about it. Sammy Guevara.
Yeah. No, there's only one Sammy in wrestling to me. So Sami Zayn for sure. One thing I forgot to ask you, and you've dissected him beautifully in the past. It does look like your boy Baron Corbin is getting another gimmick.
Yeah, that's lucky number 7, Johnny. That's lucky number 7.
Did you see who they're linking him up with, right?
I did not see it.
JBL.
Oh, yeah, that's right. JBL. He did get in JBL's limo, and they brought JBL back.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where they're going with that, but I chuckled, and I'm like, oh, Silicon Steve Valley's going to love that one. And then the other thing I'm seeing also is that Ezekiel has been taken off of the roster, and it looks like they're going to let him grow his beard back and return as Elias and actually do something with him.
Well, that's what we always. Elias was one of the most wasted talents during Vince McMahon's last 5 years. He might be right up there in your top 5 wasted talents.
Yes.
And now he's going to come back and he's going to have every opportunity to succeed. Again, that's why we like that Triple H is in charge.
Yeah, it just common sense doing that, man. And it just because Elias was over as a heel, he was over as a face. Like the fans chanted along with him. They loved his humor, and it's like Vince is like, this will never work. Let's cut his beard to make him his brother. And I would have loved to just like when Vince calls in and does another interview with us, which fans of ours, they need to go and check out our interview with Vince. I've never been berated in a more comedic fashion. It was just awesome for sneezing in front of him.
You did cough right on air though.
Yeah, it was my fault. It was definitely my fault. I do own it.
Yeah.
However, if we could ask him what was the end game with Ezekiel, I wish we would know.
Well, you know what, Vince, come back here. Let's see if it's a man on Zoom here. All right, there he is, Mr. Chairman. Vince, real quick, because we're about to get out of here. What was your deal with Ezekiel? What was the end game? Vladi Dadi, is that what you want to ask him?
That is my question, Mr. McMahon. Of all the things that I could ask you right now and how things are developing, what was the end game for Ezekiel versus Elias?
He was going to be Elias too. Don't you get it? What are you, stupid?
What do you mean he was going to be both? How can he be both of them? One has a beard and the other one doesn't.
It was trick photography. I can't explain to you what I was going to do. I don't even remember what I was going to do. God damn it. I haven't slept with my wife in 40 years. And you're calling me up about Ezekiel and Elias. I don't even fucking remember who you're talking about. Ezekiel Elias did he main event WrestleMania one year with Lawrence Taylor?
No, that was Bam Bam Bigelow.
Same thing.
They're all the same to you, aren't you? Aren't they?
They're characters creating moments, magic for my WrestleMania. I'm going to be in WrestleMania this year. I'm wrestling Roman Reigns, and I'm going to beat him in 10 seconds.
Actually, I need to ask you about that, Vince. There are major rumors that you will be at this year's WrestleMania.
You see how over I am with those idiots? I'm in the WWE universe. They love me. I can sexually assault anybody, and they still cheer. I feel like Donald Trump in Kentucky.
The rumor is that your daughter, Stephanie McMahon, is going to induct you into the Hall of Fame this year.
I mean, I kind of deserve it, don't I?
He does, actually.
Quite frankly, does anyone deserve it more than me?
No.
I created the goddamn thing. Put me in the fucking ring. Wait a minute. Wait. You say Stephanie's going to induct me?
Yes,
no.
Stephanie.
No. I'm not doing that.
Who do you want to induct you?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It's a good stall tactic. I'd like to induct myself, of course. I'm going to perform Stand Back one more time for all of the old heads. And then I'm going to say, now walking out, the man with the giant grapefruits, the man that created sports entertainment, the man that single-handedly put every single one of you in employment right now. One final time, kiss my ass, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Oh. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's going to go over beautifully. I mean, the board is going to love this.
I don't really give a shit about the board. They fired me already.
It's true.
Retirement. I was going to go till 95. Then I was going to finally put my grandson over as world champion. Something that Shane can never do. I don't know. I don't know what their names are. Is it Huey, Dewey, and Louie? I have no idea.
I'm shocked that you remembered Shane's name. That's like a positive step in your relationship.
Oh, he's suing me. How can I forget? I didn't know daddy issues was created for reason for litigation.
Evidently, it is.
Well, he's a failure. He's not in the company anymore. And Stephanie and my son-in-law, Triple H. Do you see what he's doing? He's ruining my show.
Actually, people seem to be loving it.
That's because they're stupid marks. I just found that word out. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately because I have a lot more time on my hands. Marks. I love that word. It's Vince, for stupid wrestling fans. Get it?
I do get it. Vince, have you subscribed to High Spots and Cheap Pops on YouTube?
I did it. 80 of my burner accounts did.
That's good. Because that's about how many we have. That's awesome.
I don't know who the other two are.
It's me and you.
I have 4 burner accounts on there too. I think we share a couple. Well, either way, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and the word mark came across my desk. God damn it, I love it. Stupid Mark. I should have just had on repeat. Stupid Mark on Twitter. Just calling people stupid marks. Wasted opportunity, damn it.
It is a wasted opportunity, and it's unfortunate. And just, I'm looking forward to seeing you get inducted. I think Laurinaitis should be the one that's inducting you, though.
I would, but he's fired. Fuck him.
He's sort of similar to Elias's beard. Laurinaitis seemed to have been like Vince's beard there.
He's my Eskimo brother 25 times over.
Laurinaitis hires a paralegal that's his assistant. It's all just on the books, and it's all copacetic. And then for some reason, they're always traveling with Vince.
All right. Well, anyway, I don't remember what I was going to do with Ezekiel, but it was probably going to be amazing. Certainly better than anything that Triple H can do. Paul, fuck you. I got to go back. I got to go tanning. All right. Thank you, Mr. McMahon. Thank you. Hopping back on there real quick.
How many hours a day do you think Vince works out now that he's retired?
He's actually 275 pounds all muscle now, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations.
If there was a 25th hour in the day, he found it and he's still working out.
You got to wonder how he is spending his time these days. You have to wonder that.
Crocheting, fishing. He's watching The Mandalorian. Sasha Banks, she walked out on me.
Leaking stories to Dave Meltzer. That's going to be his new thing.
That'd be great.
I got some news for you. Tony Khan is a little bitch.
Hey, Meltzer. Pat Patterson like guys. He tells them stuff he already knows. Meltzer's got to entertain it.
Hey. Meltzer, I want to let you know something. I didn't know if you knew this or not. I screwed Bret Hart in Montreal. It was me the whole time. It was me, Meltzer. Bret screwed Bret. That was a lie. It was really me.
I still laugh about it.
I still laugh about that one, pal. And then he didn't wrestle ever again after Goldberg kicked him in the head. Oh, that match with me, that was a beautiful one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's something we got to figure out. That's a good segue in terms of in the future sketch, like what Vince is doing with his free time.
We'll run with that one, folks.
Yeah.
So Vladi Dadi, what else we got going on before we kick out here on High Spots and Cheap Pops? A good, quick banger show today. A little over an hour.
Yeah. Hey, that's great, man. Yeah, we kept it short and sweet. That's pretty much it, really. We're just seeing how things develop here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the crowd in New York City reacts here at AEW, because it's going to be a lively crowd. I expect them to be over the moon for the Acclaimed. Like, that place is probably going to be the loudest for that tag team. Just they are so over. It's a thing of beauty.
Because Danielson and Moxley are going to be splitting the crowd a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
That place is going to blow the roof off of it when the Acclaimed win. They should win. And if they don't win, that's going to be a problem. I think. And then you split up Keith Lee and Swerve, and then give Acclaim a few months run, and then put those titles on FTR. Somehow get FTR in the title picture by Revolution. That's the way you got to do it, Tony. You got to figure it out, bud. You got to figure it out, pal.
And before we leave, I got one last question, an AEW question to ask you. The Firm, what was your impressions of them?
Too early to tell. I think it has potential, but it could be bad too. It could be another Pinnacle. That never really lived up to its ability. However, it's a faction on retainer. That's kind of fun. So somebody could be like, just give Stokely money and they'll be the faction for him. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I thought that was sort of funny as well. I wasn't sure what I thought about Stokely's speech. I do like Ethan Page. I'm starting to dig that guy. And the crowd reacts to him. When I saw him against Danhausen, especially too, he gets a response. When they were talking about and unveiling the Firm, if you will, what was up with W. Morrissey and just the way he reacted? Sort of strange, right? I
think it's sowing a seed that he doesn't trust Hathaway at all. And Hathaway gave him a big hug, and he was just like,
yeah, it was just very awkward, right?
I think it was intentional. Yeah, it was definitely intentional that Morrissey's not fully. He's playing ball, but he's not fully on board with believing all of Stokely Hathaway's bullshit. Everyone else seemed very receptive to Stokely Hathaway.
Yeah. Everybody's all in. I'd agree with that, definitely. Like Lee Moriarty and the Gun Club as well.
And notice they were the only one. Morrissey was the only one that wasn't interested in a title.
That's true. It is true.
So we'll see. I hope Morrissey gets this opportunity and runs with it. I really do.
Any chance we ever see Enzo back?
I think he is so detested as a human being. I don't think you're going to see him in AEW. Okay. They just got rid of C. They just they've having a lot of problems with the locker room right now. The last thing they need is a guy who thinks he's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, and he's not. Yeah. I don't know if you saw a couple of the shoot interviews he did right before he left WWE and after he left WWE. The guy thought he was one of the biggest wrestling stars in the planet, and it was wow. And the guy can't even execute a wrestling match without giving himself a fucking concussion.
Yeah. You remember that time when he went through the ropes?
And I like him, by the way. I think he's very entertaining, but he's settle down, Beavis. He does kind of look like Beavis if Beavis grew up and listened to rap instead.
He was at the Giants game today too, by the way. You guys were in the same location.
Me and Enzo? I did not see him. I saw a lot of people that looked like they act like Enzo, but you want full blown New Jersey, go to a Giant tailgate at a Giant game. Wow. The first thing I heard was Bon Jovi song. Wow. But I heard a lot of great classic rock. It was I got to be honest, it was kind of like going back home when you haven't been home for a while. It was really cool. I was appreciating it. I don't think I'm going to go back anytime soon, but I appreciate it.
That's cool. You got a little nostalgic there.
I did.
A little taste of home.
Oh yeah, and the Giants went 2-0 now. The Bucks had another good game. What are they, 2-0 or 1-1?
They are now 2-0.
Just like the Giants. They're almost as good as the Giants thing.
Almost as good. If only we had a good quarterback like you guys.
I'm not sure about Daniel Jones. I have to be honest with you. I'm not sure about Brady either. I don't think he might be good for the next year or two, but I think eventually.
Yeah, the future's not bright for him.
5 years down the road, where's Tom Brady going to be? Honestly.
Probably. Yeah.
It's probably still going to be fucking winning Super Bowls. All right, so that's all we got for High Spots and Cheap Pops. I hope you guys were enjoying the show. Vladi Dadi, a little bit back to normal this week. Feeling good about that. Starting to percolate a little. It feels like it's a little bit of a lull in the world of professional wrestling in terms of on-screen storyline. But some things are building. We're looking towards an MJF World Championship. Everything going on with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and the Bloodline. A lot of really good things percolating. I think after regroup, I think both companies are in the right direction. AEW's on much thinner ice, though, and thinner ground than WWE is, obviously. And Triple H, though, he's starting to catch a little slack. People are starting to say maybe he's not the genius that everyone thought he was, which I was the first one to say that, if you remember correctly. But Braun Strowman, he's back.
You know what? I don't mind him being back because I think all signs point to Bray Wyatt returning.
Well, I don't know about that because did you hear Triple H's comments on Bray Wyatt?
No, I didn't.
It was when Ariel Helwani, he asked about 4 guys coming back. One was Braun Strowman. It was before Strowman came back. It was like the week before. One was The Rock. And certainly the door's wide open for The Rock for Los Angeles this year coming up. I think a lot of people think it's going to happen. I forget who the female, there was a female, Sasha Banks was the other one.
Right.
And he said, it's a process. We have been in talk, but it's a process. We'll see what happens. But he also brought up on top of Bray Wyatt, and he said that Bray Wyatt, he's such a creative guy, but it's really hard to deal with sometimes when you're trying to manage and rein in his creative sparks. Basically saying he wasn't easy to work with because he's so creative. So it was complimentary. Right. It was like a backhanded compliment kind of thing. So I don't think Bray Wyatt's a slam dunk. I don't necessarily know if he had a great working relationship with Triple H. Because that's the way I took it with Triple H, what Triple H said. Because if you think WWE definitely wanted him back, Triple H would have been a little bit more glowing about it. Because Strowman, he was really glowing about. Sasha Banks, glowing about. The Rock, glowing. And I don't mean this in a bad way. I don't mean this in a bad way, but he's so creative. If you don't bring him in, he's kind of hard to deal with. Exactly what he said. Everyone, Braun Strowman, he's a great guy. He's polarizing. People love him. Look at the size of him. He's great. The Rock, he's the king of that city. And he'll be great. It's amazing. Sasha Banks, one of the most talented people in the world. She can do whatever she wants. Bring her. Bray Wyatt, I don't know. It's kind of hard to deal with. Super talented guy. Don't get me wrong.
Too smart for his own good.
So I don't think Bray Wyatt's the slam dunk that we thought it was, but time will tell. I mean, obviously, again, we'll know by WrestleMania what Triple H is made of, folks. All right. Well, we had a good show here. We want to thank you guys for listening and watching. This is Silicon Steve Alley for Vladi Dadi. Keep an eye out for some more comedic bits and some things of that nature. Now we're starting to get back into a routine after the next couple of weeks and after a very arduous summer. We're going through softball stuff. We've got a lot of family things going up. Start rekindling those creative sparks with the comedic stuff and some other options on High Spots, back to High Spots and Cheap Pops. And as long as coming to you guys once a week with our weekly podcast. So thank you so much. Vladi Dadi, where's the Facebook page? Tell them about the Facebook page.
We can be found on Facebook at High Spots and Cheap Pops.
Woo. At Silicon Valley on Twitter, Silicon Steve Alley on TikTok. I'm on TikTok now.
Holy cow. They let people your age there? Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got secrets.
But I don't really go on there at all. And in fact, I'm not going to do one. I was going to do one live, like do a TikTok live here, but that's stupid. So I'm not going to do that. Like a little girl.
Do some dance.
Thank you so much for listening to High Spots and Cheap Pops, everybody. Check us out next week. Again, and also I am going to be returning to the Everyday Fan with a great article on Kenny Omega and some AEW stuff on the everydayfan.com. So check that out. Check out some of Vladi Dadi's writings on the Facebook page, which he already told you about. And we want to thank you guys. And if you haven't, and if you like this, and if you think we're cool, you want to hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, follow us on Spotify. Thank you so much for listening to High Spots and Cheap Pops. This is for Vladi Dadi. This is Silicon Steve Alley. And here endeth the lesson.